Okay. That does sound good. All right. So we are going to go over paragraphs 2 and 3 on page 372 of the Ldsat study guide. So, what was the subject of the first paragraph?
Writing comedies.
Writing comedies. Maybe if you said comedy writers, or even just comedy. Yeah.
I thought it was like the script they were writing.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's not a particular script, it's just writing a comedic script.
Yeah.
The writing.
What's that?
Screenwriting.
I think you should have gotten comedy out of it because they kept saying comedy, 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 comedy.
Words.
Yeah. Is that what you said?
That's not kind of what I meant.
Okay, then yeah. Try to make sure you write down though what you mean. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I mean that literally because what you meant now, what you mean now and what you meant 10 minutes ago are going to be two very different things. What you meant was whatever the hell you wrote down.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was there an action or description?
I just said challenge of responses, and then the goal was to be humorous.
All right. Anyone else?
Is it finding the humor and identifying thoughts and ideas?
All right.
Producing amusing plots is daunting.
Like to find out like what like everyone thinks is funny.
I thought the action was understanding thought and emotions behind comedy.
Oh, comedy is either funny or unfunny.
A lot of that. Yeah, so the goal of comedy is identifying those inner thoughts. I would say basically, I don't know, what did I write was the answer? The one thing you guys weren't getting was that it's hard to write comedy. Writing comedy is difficult. Wait, someone did say difficult.
I just said that. Producing amusing plots is daunting.
Very good.
It's like also hard to like find out what everyone thinks is funny instead of having like funny for like one group of people instead of just to have like the funny for everyone.
Right. So you guys are also taking that next step to kind of what is it saying about society? What's funny for one person, not funny for the other person, right? So this first one is basically saying writing a comedy is hard because everybody has their own kind of idea of funny, right? Is that pretty much what everyone got?
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. Really quickly, look at number 3. Can anyone see the formatting error there? Actually, I gave it away. Listen to my words. Look at number 3. 3 is the wrong font.
How did, like, I would never have guessed
that. Like number 3 was the wrong font.
Because it's my book. Because any mistake is, you know what I mean?
Wait, what do you mean?
What?
It's
like look at number like the number
the actual
3.
number 3, number 1 and 2 are italic.
Oh.
Right? And number 3 is the number 3 is a different font than the number 1 and the number 2.
Clever.
Actually, the reason I noticed it was I worked very hard for the book to make sure that the writing is the same, has the same look as the SAT writing, because that's important for a lot of people who are processing, right? Who have some visual processing things. You want to make sure they're comfortable with that.
Who's this?
It's Becca. I'll be done at 1, kiddo.
Alright.
Okay, so number 3, subject.
I said
Like
Comedy.
Comedy again.
comedy versus horror.
Comedy versus horror. And what about comedy versus horror?
similarities.
Huge similarities, right?
2 essays.
Do you just not know you did that?
What did I do?
You like almost hit her in the head.
Shot, should be up with this.
She'll be all right. Okay, so what is the connection between number 2 and number 3?
Said surprise element of comedy, and then fear not knowing or to knowing.
Surprise.
So the connection between number 2 and number 3 is really just that they're saying different things about the same topic, right? The first one is more of a general statement. It's hard to write comedy. It's hard to know what's going to be funny. And then number 2 is kind of explaining one way that's true, right? Well, because comedy and horror are sort of the same. So that's making it hard, right? If you think about the characteristics, if you just think about that paragraph, that idea. If you think about, well, what are the characteristics that make something funny? That's actually the same characteristics that make something scary.
So to distinguish them, that's why it's hard.
Yeah. All right, does that make sense? Beautiful. Turn that off.